Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ascension Board of Adjustments. It's now called to order. A roll call of members right now. Mr. Bryce Cox. Sorry, apologize. Mr. Alvin Madare.
Here.
Mr. Harold Dalton. Howard Dalton. And Miss Kathleen DeSater.
Here.
And also Mr. Brad Walker.
Here.
I'm trying to get all my paperwork. I apologize, board. Trying to get all my paperwork together.
Just nervous about the camera.
At this time, I'm going to have a public comment period. This public comment period involves if there's anything that you have that will help this board in making Ascension Parish a better parish, now's your opportunity to say so. If you don't like this board and want to make a comment about this board, now's your time. No one in the audience? Therefore, we move forward. I'd like to say that if you have a cell phone or if you have a pager, let's go ahead and turn those off. If you have to use them, please step outside the room. If you have to discuss after a decision is made by this board, I'd like for you to go ahead and leave the room and finish your discussion. The reason for that is everybody in this room has something important to say to this board. And everybody's comments and everybody's concerns are very important to this board. And I'd like to take that opportunity to make sure that they have everything available to them so we can hear them. Moving on, I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes of March the 7th of 2006.
Second. Mr. Chairman.
Oh, excuse
Sir.
me, Chairman, there's an error. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
On item 6C, I voted nay, and that got recorded as a yea. That was for the item 1432.06 on Babbitt Road.
Okay.
It should be changed to reflect that I voted nay on that one.
Okay, we'll have those changes made.
And also the correction on page 4, at the top of the page, they have me down as absent from the last meeting. That's incorrect.
So moved. We'll have those changes made. Is there any other changes that need to be made at this time?
I'll move to accept the minutes with those corrections.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? So passed. I'd also like to have a motion on the floor at this time to accept the written decisions for March the 7th of 2006 meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir.
That needs to be corrected. No, it doesn't. Never mind. Well, yes, it does. Or does it?
What do you think needs to be corrected?
Excuse me for opening my mouth. It doesn't reflect the vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Just been informed that the 1443.06 for the Shaw Group has been pulled from our agenda tonight. Okay. Go ahead and make those notes.
Did we make the corrections to Mr. Dalton on the decision?
It was done tonight.
Okay.
It does not reflect the vote, and I thought it did for some reason. So I'll second your motion.
Thank you, sir.
On the corrections?
No, motion and second to accept the written decision.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So be it. Following the agenda tonight, first on the agenda is 1441.06 for Mr. Carl Courtney Sr. This is located on the east side of LA Highway 73, approximately 1,500 feet north of LA Highway 621.
Move to open the public hearing. Second.
Public hearing is now open. Have you signed in, sir?
That's what I did.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead and state your name, please, sir.
My name is Carl Courtney with Pelican State GMAC Realty, and I'm asking permission to enclose a carport and a rear screen porch to add some offices to my building at that address on 73.
At this time in the audience, do we have anybody who would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request for his variance? Go ahead and close public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Ma'am, anybody on the board have any questions for this gentleman?
I don't have it.
Do we have a motion coming forward?
Mr. Chairman, I would move this be accepted because it does not substantially increase, in fact, it does not increase what's under the roof and would impose no unusual use for the land within the current zoning.
Do we have a second? We have a motion to accept as written.
Second.
I have a motion to accept and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Variance is granted, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Second on the agenda tonight, 1442.06, Lot A, 1A, for Damon Bourgeois property. That's for Don Gill. This is located on the south side of Maurice Bourgeois Road, approximately 600 feet east of LA Highway 431.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open.
My name's Steve Damon, speaking on behalf of Don Gill with Interstate Mini Storage. I'm looking for your permission to exceed the variance 5,000 feet to add new mini storage building, which will be located between one climate control and between one dry storage unit.
We have anybody, excuse me, we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request? No one? Okay. Close public hearing, please, sir.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen of the board, do we have any further questions for this gentleman?
I have a question. So you already have an existing 9,100 square foot building and a 7,800.
Yes, ma'am. The left side is our climate control, and then right in the middle of our property, I guess the line splits. And right now, there's nothing there. It's just a very large area, and we're going to see about maybe putting. It's actually 4,850 square feet. We just rounded up to 5, but we're going to put that in between the storage, the dry, and the climate. There will be plenty of room to get between both units still. Just looking to increase that particular area.
And there's going to be 12 foot between the two buildings that you already have.
I'm showing 10.5. But regardless, this is just a spec building. We can order it to your specifications.
Well,
Ms. Kathy, I think that you're quoting what's in front of us for the 12-foot.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was asking about, if there was 12 foot between them, or because the spaces weren't really even, so that's what I was trying to see.
Do we have any further questions from the board? Do we have a motion?
so the new proposal, I just want to make sure I'm following this. The proposal for the new building is right between the two existing buildings, correct?
Yes, sir. The very left, I guess, the left of the new proposed building will be considered on A1, tract A1, rather than what it says right here, A2. But that's why I want to exceed that specific area. I mean, it's right down the middle of my property. I guess I have two different zones. So in order to do that, I wouldn't be able to put it all on one tract. It's going to split that building right between two.
You're saying the property is zoned,
Yeah, right. I have right between my property, right down the middle, is two different zones. And I'm just asking for a variance to exceed that. I don't know if you have this picture.
Lance, would you comment on that for us, please?
Yeah, what it? Yes, what it is that he's asking for it to exceed the square footage in a crossroad commercial, which is 10,000. He has two buildings, it's two separate lots. One of the lots he has 9,100 square feet building on that lot. The new one he was asked to build to 4,850, and with that he would exceed the square footage of 10,000 square feet to whatever that the request was to 3,950.
Right.
And that's what he's
made comment
requesting.
about two zoned,
No, it's two separate lots. Yes, sir.
two separate lots.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now, he meets the side requirements for that lot that
Yes,
looks
he
close
did.
to that property line?
Yes, he does. It's 10 feet. It would be 10 feet according to this map. It's
Okay, I see 12 feet.
12
between
feet
the
on, and
buildings.
in between them too. So
Well, he's showing 10 foot on one side of the property line, and that's what, there's
And then
not
that
a
would be
10
2
foot
foot
on
on
the
the other.
other side of the property line also?
he would have to be 10 feet from the property, from the side property line.
On
Yeah.
both sides, right?
You mean on between the two buildings?
Well, no, from the lot line.
The lot line that I see that the new building's being proposed is showing what is that, 10 feet?
Yeah, it's showing 10 foot to one side of the lot line, but
Mhm.
not the other. That's what I'm asking.
He would have to be 10 feet from that property line to that building.
So he's going to have to be 10 foot on either side of the property line.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's skewed or whatever it is, if it's off or whatever, but he'd have to be 10 feet through the whole property. The whole property line
That
that's on
wouldn't be a
the
problem. That wouldn't be a problem.
that's on the east side.
So that's not going to be a problem
No.
for you at all?
No. No, sir.
What I'm going off of is this right
That's right.
here. I don't have a very good map, so,
The same map that I have.
and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But
That's in the zone.
you're telling this board
He would
you're
have
not going to have a problem with that at all,
Well, I mean, if you're asking, there's gonna, the required space that you need, I'll put this building there to meet your requirements. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand is, I got two buildings, one right here and one right here, which are both within plenty of range, and right in the middle, I just got a big open field. I mean, you can play touch football if you like.
Right.
And all I want to do is just add one dry storage unit, which will be almost half the size of the one on the right, which gives you plenty of room in the back to go around it and whatnot.
But you don't have a problem meeting this requirement,
10 feet.
Within feet now.
the 10 feet.
No, sir.
Okay. Then I make a suggestion, if somebody brings that up on as a proposal, that we include that
Well,
10.
technically, that's in regular zoning, so if you don't meet that, you have to come back for another adjustment for the side.
But is there a requirement for something?
We're just doing the space, correct?
Mr. Lance.
Lance?
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're just doing the square footage. We're not doing anything as far as sides or anything
No,
like that.
that's right. The only thing he's requesting
come
at this
back
time
to
is a
that.
square footage. It's
Yeah, if it
sideline.
doesn't meet, that's correct. You're right. You're right. Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the 5,000 square feet as long as he meets other building standards. Because I don't see any problem with this, where the property's located. It's going to harm any neighbors.
So you want to
Make a
accept
motion
as
we
written?
accept as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to accept as written. Also, we also have a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Unanimous decision, sir. Your variance is granted.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1444.06, Lot CG2B of Howard J. Blanchard tract. Sign in, please, ma'am. State your name.
Dara Delanaville.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open.
Okay. Basically, we just want to divide the lot so that my sister can have the back half. And I think we're required to have 100 feet frontage on it. And I want to possibly reduce it to 90 feet or less if possible.
Anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against this young lady's request? Go ahead and close your public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing?
Public hearing is now closed. Does this board have any questions that they would like to ask at this time?
I understand it's 90 feet on the front road, but then you go back to 20 feet all the way back? There's not a requirement on how far back you got to go?
Yeah, you would have to go to the building line, which they did, and then they can cut it down. And 20 feet, that would be at their discretion of how much they want to put on that side.
So in essence, that 20 foot would be equivalent to a servitude of passage,
It'd be part of that lot.
lot 2B2.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any further discussion? Go ahead, sir.
I don't think I followed with Brad. What were you asking?
Well, just as it goes 90 feet, to the building line, and cuts over to 20 feet. I mean, if that's a road, it's not necessarily a lot of road going back down.
Well, it couldn't be a road, it wouldn't meet the parish requirements.
Of only 20 feet.
It would have to be a drive of some sort, but it's part of it.
We're only talking about 9 feet of frontage, or variance of 9 feet.
That's all she's requested is 9.84 feet.
I move to accept the variance as requested due to the uniqueness of the property.
I'll second that motion, and that there's minimal impact on the frontage, and it provides better usage of the land, and that it's going to provide 2 lots, whereas you couldn't really have them unless it was split longitudinally down the middle.
Very well put.
We have a motion to accept as written. We also have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No opposed, unanimous decision. Ma'am, your variance is requested.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1445.06, Lot 129, Manchac Harbor subdivision. This property is located on the south side of Dockside, approximately 350 feet west of Lake Harbor Lane. You all sign in?
Yes.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open.
My name is Jim Lear, and what we're doing is asking for exceed the building line on the back by 5 feet.
Do we have anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request? Go ahead and close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing?
Public hearing is now closed. Does this board have any further discussion or any questions that they would like to ask this gentleman?
Outside of what is exactly behind your property?
A
Other than
lake.
servitude.
A lake.
I know that's there. A lake?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Big lake.
How big?
A lot of water. Does anybody else have any further questions for this gentleman? Would you like, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that this variance be approved due to the unique shape of the line, of the property line for this property. It's kind of a pie-shaped piece of property, and that this is actually building back to a 15-foot servitude, which the building will not encroach upon that servitude.
I'll second.
Any part of the building.
Not even the roof.
Yes.
Well, I'm just making sure they're aware of that.
Yeah, no margin of error on your overhang of anything. You come
Right.
back to that
That's right.
15-foot servitude.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We have a motion to accept, and we also have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous decision, your variance is granted, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Next on the agenda is 1446.06, tract CLC 2A2, Canal Bank subdivision, first filing for Mr. Clarence R. Halpin.
Move to open a public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. You sign in, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ellen Jackson with McLean and Associates, representing Mr. and Mrs. Halpin. We're asking for a variance for lot frontage and also square footage for these lots. We're creating these three lots, and they're the same size as all the other lots in the subdivision. And since it's in conservation zoning, we're asking for 20-foot lot frontage on CLC 2C and only 2.84 feet for CL 2A 2B. The other lot, 2A, is not, we're not asking for a variance because it's in Livingston Parish. We just have to show them all on this lot. That being it, we're asking for your approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this young lady's request? We ain't closed public hearings.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Does this board have any further questions?
CLC 2A and CLC 2B, correct?
It's CLC 2A, 2B, and 2C.
And 2C.
Not 2A.
Technically, 2C is the only one in Ascension. Some of 2B
Well-
is in Livingston.
Well, that's what I'm,
It's in both parishes, so we still, the frontage is in
may need a
Ascension.
legal opinion.
No. Why do you think that?
You see the parish line cutting 2A?
No, but the original
2B?
lot is CLC 2A2, and she
Yeah.
wants to divide it into three smaller lots, of which CLC 2A2A will be totally in Livingston Parish. CLC 2A, 2B, and CLC 2A2C will be straddling the parish line to some degree. So we're really being asked to rule on
Frontage on
basically B
2L.
and C.
Right, the frontage.
But basically, though, these lot size coincide similar to what you have in the rest of the subdivision, right?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Anybody have any more questions they would like to ask? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that approval be granted for lots CLC 2A, 2B, and CLC 2A, 2C due to the uniqueness of the circumstance where these lots straddle the parish line and is in conformity with existing land use.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Kathy, you second it?
Yes, I'm second.
We have a motion to approve as written, and we also have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Your variance is granted, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1447.06, located on the south side of Butch Gore Road, approximately 900 feet east of L. Keller Road.
Motion open public hearing.
Public hearing is now open.
Yeah, my name is Ray Joseph LeBlanc Sr., and I'm requesting permission to move my two sisters on my place.
Oh, you two sisters, sir? I apologize. Do we have anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request?
I have a question. Are they
Sir.
moving one residence or two? Okay. Just to clarify.
Two people.
Right, but in one residence.
One
resident.
trailer. Yes, that's correct.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Does this board have any further questions for this gentleman?
Sir, I would like to know what the 4 existing dwellings are on this property. Are they houses or trailers?
2 mobile homes and 2 houses.
Thank you.
Do you see your overview?
Yeah, that's hard to read.
The 4 other existing dwellings, one's yours, and are the others
Yeah,
family members?
The kids, family members. Children.
Do we have any further questions or any concerns further concerns with this variance? I'm looking for a motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion to accept as written. Due to the hardship, a family needs to move on to a lot. And it's relative, I mean, not immediate family, but sisters.
Mr. Chairman, I'll accept that because this appears to be a direct relationship to the hurricane damage of, accept that. I will second that because this appears to be due to the Hurricane Katrina, and this is basically immediate family.
We have a motion to accept as written. We also have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous decision. Sir, your variance is granted. Next on the agenda is 1448.06, Lot E6 of White Subdivision for Dave Roberts. This is located on the west side of A&N White Road, approximately 250 feet south of LA Highway 930.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open.
Yeah, my name is Stan Spence with BDR Construction, representing Dave Roberts.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't hear you.
My name is Stan Spence with BDR Construction, representing Dave Roberts. We were asking for a variance on the front setback on the property. Originally, I got a plot plan showing the house we're proposing to construct on the property. And originally what they were asking for was a total of 74 feet setback from the front of the property, and what I'm asking for is to relieve it to 64. And what that would be a 39-foot offset and then a 12-foot servitude, and then I'm asking instead of a 23-foot setback off the servitude, a 13-foot setback.
Anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request? Close public hearing, please.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. I'm sure we got questions. Anybody on this board have a question for this gentleman?
Why they decided to not level it out to meet the requirements? Why are we scooting it up?
Well, it would actually, right now, I've got 20 foot on the backyard setback. If I move it back, I would only have
This
about
is the back right here?
Yes, sir. That's the back of the property. The other way, I would only have like about a 9 foot, or I think it was actually 11-foot setback, 11-foot 6 to the corner of the eave.
Now, this line right here, this is the street right here?
Yeah, actually what it is, where you see the 39-foot offset, actually the property is on the other side of A.N. White. You have the property line, then you have A.N. White, the road, and then it's coming back. So the property is between the boundary and the 39-foot offset. That's the road. So actually the road is on the house side of the property.
Okay. Now, my other question is, does this house line up to the ones on side of it?
There's nothing really there, but on the corner of it, it's a triangle type shape lot, and the other one, that other lot would actually be deeper. You know what I mean? It would.
So the driveway's coming out to Cecil James?
Yeah, actually, it would go to A.N. White. That's right.
Oh, A.N. White. Okay. Cecil.
But yeah, like I say, where you see the property marks, the corners, the boundary of it, actually, the road would be back towards the house.
So you're saying there's a building on E5 currently, or no?
No.
And E7 doesn't have a building either?
No. And I have actually a drawing of the property line, if you want to look at it. It shows A.N. White Road, if y'all want. Do y'all want to look at that?
That's on. It should be on the back side of your same one, isn't it?
I have this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the same thing.
Okay.
You did say that there was no buildings constructed on this site yet, right?
Yes, they're actually on, I think, E3. I think there's a house being constructed right now on E3, but that's on the 930 side instead of A.N. White.
Do we have any further questions for this gentleman? We have a motion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, in view of the uniqueness of this lot, E6, where the property line is on the far side of the road, so to speak,
Right.
and in order to allow any development at all, I would like to move that this be granted as written.
Due to uniqueness, right?
Due to the uniqueness of the lots, et cetera, et
And
cetera.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to accept as written. We also have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, unanimous decision. Sir, your variance is granted.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1449.06, Lot 23, Cypress Gold subdivision for David A. Nicholson. This is located on the west side of Cypress Grove Drive, approximately 1,050 feet north of a Gold Place Road.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Go ahead, sir.
Gentlemen, lady, my name is David Nicholson, and I'm requesting a variance on Lot 23 of Cypress Gold subdivision. During the construction of Cypress Gold, there was a ditch that was extracted along the parish on both sides, which was utilized in building up the land for the houses in that area to save the builders a little bit of money. The parish later at the time, about a year after the development start of the subdivision, claimed that as drainage. When I purchased my house, I improved my lot by buying concrete covers to go in that so that I could gain my property back. I'm currently looking to build a shop or work facility on my property, and the reason I'm asking for 15 foot or less, preferably 10, is because that work that I put into my property will pretty much be lost because of the 20-foot servitude from the rear. Now, I approximately have 20 feet from the rear fence, 60 feet from the rear fence to the back of my house. So by placing the shop so far forward, it would be really close and not aesthetic view of a shop. The reasoning for the 5 foot on the side, because I have approximately 15 foot from my fence to the side of the house. And with already coming 10 feet, the roll-up door on a metal building or a Mueller building already cannot exceed 2 feet from the side. So my angle of entry, by being able to pull in any vehicle or boat, is impossible. So I was requesting 5 feet from the side. And also the overhang only extends 1 foot, which I would provide coverage on the side anyway for any additional rainfall that may intrude on my neighbor's land.
Let me, you cannot give a variance into a drainage servitude.
That's correct.
That's right.
That's correct, and I don't know if all the board had heard that, but there's no way that this board can even give a variance. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lance, the way I understand, the parish came back in and took this back over. I mean, they gave it to him, then took it back over, and then I don't understand.
No, actually, if you don't mind,
No,
actually, what happened was when the builders started the subdivision, it is a flood zone. So what they use is the dirt from the rear of the property. Okay, so that created a complete drainage for the entire property. So that was claimed by the parish as a drainage
Right, sir.
for Ascension Parish for that subdivision.
Yes, sir.
So I came back and I installed the concrete covers by authority of the parish,
Okay.
which lies 1 foot from the rear of my property line, and an 18-inch D-shaped concrete covert is approximately 3.5 feet wide. So that puts it approximately 4.5 to 5 feet from the rear of my property, which is currently covered by dirt. So 20 feet is really actually 15 feet of additional servitude that is not even close to a concrete cover.
You'd have to go to the drainage board to get them to authorize to do that before you could come in. You gotta go to the drainage board and get authority. They cannot grant you a variance into a drainage.
See, and I didn't know which direction, so I was told to submit the variance and come here.
The way you're speaking, I can understand, and I'm not being derogatory by no means, but I think somebody should have gave you a little bit better direction on where to go with this, because from what I see, and board members correct me if I'm wrong, but we can't give a variance for this.
You can give the variance for the 5 feet that he's requesting on the side.
Yeah, on the side.
The
But not
5
in
foot,
the back.
we cannot do anything with the drainage because that's not ours to control.
The drainage servitude's there unless he goes to the drainage board and gets something from them. You're not gonna be able to do it.
And that's what I'm saying. We need to see the drainage board for this.
Mr. Chairman, if you'll call for the question.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the 5 foot on the side be approved, but the 10 foot in the rear, where it involves the drainage servitude, be denied because this board does not have authority to grant that. That would have to go before the drainage board.
Okay.
So you're getting part of what you're asking for, but we can't grant you the other because it's not our purview.
Understood.
That's my motion.
Do we have a second to that?
I have a
Go
question.
ahead. You have a question? That's fine. Go ahead.
Before we second the motion as far as granting the 5 foot servitude on the side, what is next to your property on that side?
What is next?
Yeah,
A
is there-
fence.
A what?
A
A
fence.
fence, but what's on the other side of the fence?
My neighbor's backyard.
Neighbor's backyard. There's no structure.
No part of his house.
Okay.
Now, we do have on the floor.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Barry. We have a motion to accept the 5 foot, which excludes what is written of the 10 foot in the back, in the rear. So we also have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now, sir, that your 5 foot is granted. Okay. Your 10 foot needs to go before drainage to kind of.
Before, he'd have to bring it back here for you to grant the variance, but he'd still have to get authority before you
Right.
can
To do it.
consider
To
doing that.
do anything, you have to get the authority to come to us by the drainage, right?
Does the
Is that
board have a name that you'd recommend me
Well, the problem
contacting?
is that even if we let you build a building there,
Mhm.
it's going to
Okay.
That's gonna be an issue. I represent the drainage, but I can tell you it's gonna have a problem with it. Because legally, I don't have a problem with it.
Even though the concrete cover sits so far back?
Because they've got to have a right of way to get in there. You'd have, if something happened, they'd have to work everything out, they'd have to tear up the building.
Now, what if it was possible of putting in a,
I'm not an engineer.
Right,
but
okay,
I can
yeah,
tell
I
you
understand.
Legally, I'm gonna have a problem with it, unless they're
Okay.
willing, unless you'd have to work something out with them, and then I'd
all right.
Okay, sir, your variance is granted for the 5 foot only, but as legal has explained to you, this is going to have, eventually you're going to have to come back to us anyhow.
If they would allow it.
If the drainage approves.
Okay.
So, do you have any questions that you would like to ask?
No, sir, not at this
Okay,
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That was quick.
Motion to adjourn.
In front of everybody.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion granted.